Ooh, where's the music? There it is.
Hello, UCR. What's your favorite scary movie?
A big hello to all the freaky little floaters out there at Uncensored Radio Land. It is that time again. We are back for Uncensored Horror. And it seems like a few people actually really enjoyed the It review, guys. So luckily, we're back again to discuss what is technically part two of 1990s It. Now, for those of you that weren't alive to experience it or haven't watched it, the original incarnation of It was a TV movie miniseries. Remember those? Remember back in the day when there were miniseries on TV?
A lot of Stephen King ones.
Yeah, a lot of Stephen King back in the day.
Stain.
The Langoliers, all the good stuff.
Those old double VHSs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we are on
Monster
night
cases.
two. Yeah, big chunky cases.
Yeah, lots of plastic, and you knew you were in for something serious if you saw that coming home from the video store.
A long night. But we are back for the second part of this evening. Katie, were you okay after the last one? I know that we've had some.
Well, this time I've got my emotional support kitty.
Yep, she
Everyone
looks
say hi,
thrilled.
Loki.
Hi, Loki. Can't even focus. Yep.
Everyone knows this is just my favorite topic to talk about. I would rather discuss Jeepers Creepers.
And we did. We did. We truly did.
I'd rather do it again.
I love the irony of that. The most popular or the most viewed review of that Jeepers Creepers series is Jeepers Creepers Reborn. It's like it was the worst movie, but everyone really wanted to know what we had to say about it.
Probably
like so much so that we
painful
had
than the film.
so much so that one of Luke's friends, who he didn't even know watched the show, was like, "When are you doing Jeepers Creepers Reborn?" It's like, whoa.
We all can't turn away
And
from a
he's like,
train
I
wreck.
want to hear you guys rag on it because I hated it. And I'm like, yeah, we hated it too. So
Well, it's because we took Kenny out of the swamp of Louisiana.
Oh, Kenny was watching. They filmed that near you, didn't they, Kenny?
Yeah,
That's what I said. We dragged
not
Kenny
too
out of
far.
there. We said, fuck this. We're just gonna grab Kenny.
I got my wings tucked in the back.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, are we ready to talk about it? Because, as I said, this is night two. So, for a very quick recap, at the end of last installment, the Losers Club, Lucky Seven, however you want to call them,
The
had
lovers.
survived their encounter with the malevolent, malicious force known as It that lurked beneath the town of Derry. And everything was seemingly okay. Well, which we know 30 years later, it wasn't, because Mike Hanlon, the school's, or not even school, he's the town librarian, was calling them all back because it had returned.
Something
Ugh.
I have in common with those kids 30 years later, I'm still not okay.
Right?
funny
It's
how
a
trauma
very-
reemerges at other stages of your life, right?
Funny how the people that are supposed to care about you the most just want to re-traumatize you the most.
Oh, well, it's okay. It's love. We got to do it for views, girl.
For the views.
For the views. We do it all for the views. This show's been going strong on nearly 4 years on traumatizing us. But it's okay. It's okay. We love it.
Digging deep.
So we left off with the in the bloody bathroom of Stan Uris, who or the adult Stan Uris, who couldn't face returning to Derry and took matters into his own hands with a set of razor blades and.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's where we left off. A kind of bold ending to night one of something, really, isn't it? If you look back on it, you're like,
Well, when you think about it now, like off topic but on topic in a way. I mean, 13 Reasons Why had to pull that scene completely out of their series, which was like an integral part of the series.
Yeah.
Because it was so
horrific.
graphic. And then you think about this scene back in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's like unheard of.
It's not
we
graphic, but it is.
We should do our due diligence for, you know, when we're talking about a subject as horrible as suicide, that, look, there's always help out there for people. There's Lifeline, there's Beyond Blue in Australia. There are different services. Never go it alone. Always reach out to people.
Especially if it's
like if it's a killer clown.
Especially if it's demonic interdimensional clowns after you. I'd be calling someone.
Listen,
like,
if I can pull through it, you can too. Reach
it's
out
all
to
good.
someone.
We all got shitty times. That's why we watch horror movies to talk about them.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, it was graphic for its time. It's not graphic by today's standards, but for its time, very graphic.
There seems to be a lot of blood and red blood, very red,
very,
blood.
very red blood.
Red blood. But we pick up our story as the Lucky Seven, or what remains of the Lucky Seven, slowly make their way back to Derry. I know. Well, that happened in real life too. So first of our returning characters is, of course, Bill Denborough.
Billy boy.
Billy boy. I love that they don't even wait to give us Pennywise in this next section. We go straight to the cemetery. Bill has a semi-touching moment with his brother's grave.
He just forgot.
Yeah,
that he had a brother that was
dead. But he's like, I'm sorry, I forgot. Like, well, that's obviously part of an interesting comment, I guess, on childhood trauma. You know,
I think it's an interesting choice of words, because I'm sure he didn't actually forget about his brother,
it's just
but
repressed maybe is the more accurate. Yeah, compartmentalized, repressed it. You know, dressed it up in a little suit that wasn't a horrible clown. But we don't get long until you hear a little bit of circus-style music and see a little tuft of red hair sticking up from a grave that's being dug. And Tim Curry comes up.
Pennywise is rude.
Tim Curry comes up like straight away. He's like, yeah, he's got the stutter and everything. Billy boy. Oh. He's like, I love that he's like this amalgamation of Henry Bowers and like Bozo the Clown and their psychological fears all rolled into one. He's ready.
If Bozo was a bully,
yeah. If Bozo was Henry Bowers, if Bozo and Henry Bowers had a baby that happened to dwell in your subconscious, you know, that's who Pennywise is. And you can see he's asking Billy to pick a grave, except for the one on the end. That's already been taken.
Oh,
at this stage we don't know, or he doesn't know by who. He comes into town and goes to the library and finds Mike Hanlon in the library, where there's a very tongue-in-cheek homage to all the Stephen King books that, you know, the glowing, the smile. It's like, oh, okay, cool, we get it. It's a nice little in joke. But we discover that, you know, as these individuals get back into town, their memories are slowly resurfacing. Billy remembers that near the school and near the library, Beverly lived around the corner. It was Poor Town, and still is, where Mike lives. But Mike has done something extra. Mike has brought a piece of the past back to the present. He has found Billy's childhood bicycle, Silver. Now that's a piece of luck, right? I guess not in a small town, because I would assume that, you know, maybe Bill's parents never left Derry, and they had a whole house full of stuff, and it ended up in, you know, wherever.
The timing was strange.
I think people hold on to stuff. Like, I remember, like, my bike when I was 7. had, like, I outgrew it by the time I was 10, but it like sat in our garage for another 10 years untouched. So
it's nice.
I don't think
it's good.
Yeah, like when you get up there with like killer clowns, I don't think it's the most ridiculous plot device.
And we see a nice little, like, very 80s, 90s style montage of them flashing back between childhood and adulthood. And we see Jonathan Brandis being Jonathan Brandis again, which is nice. Like,
get to see
every time I see that
stick comedy with the little jacket hitting in the eye.
Yeah,
oh.
Every time I see Jonathan Brandis, I go, what a pity. Like, what a shame. He was such a good, like, kid actor. I would have liked to have seen a bit more, like, you know, what he would have turned into had he, like, managed to live on. But, you know, R.I.P. Johnny B.
Sequest DSB will always be there.
The dolphin. That fucking scene-stealing dolphin. They all hated the dolphin on Sequest. They all hated the dolphin on Sequest DSB because it was an asshole, apparently. But when you're a dolphin and the star of a show, I guess you can be. Don't get us started on Flipper. What an asshole. So Mike is helping slowly, you know, recover the memories, and they figure because he never left, he didn't get a chance to fully forget, even though he grew up, because he was surrounded by, you know, the memories. But also, if we're to believe that it and the evil that is it resides solely in Derry, there's always going to be those reverberations of whatever it is around the town. So Mike never forgot. He just got older. Whereas the others, you know, forgot. I think it's Ben that comes back next, right?
Richie.
Richie.
Up, yeah.
Driving down the main street and then sees his own obituary at the Paramount.
Yeah.
And he also goes the 1990. Yeah. He goes to the library. That's my. This is like a great Tim Curry slapstick Pennywise moment.
Oh yeah. He first starts
turns
calling him a
menacing.
perv.
Yeah.
A little young for you, huh?
and just really great proof that everyone else can't see what's going on. I don't know how those extras held it together, having those squibs explode in their face without a reaction.
They have the smallest little
yeah.
with each one.
I wonder how long that took. I know that there's making of documentary for this on like the Blu-ray or something, but I wonder how long that took to get right, because your first like react, like instinct is to react when something explodes in your face, and it's like
this would have been a perfect time to use CGI if it was available.
But no, this is all practicals, baby. They had that blood exploding in their face. The old lady's the best. She's just like, she doesn't even react. She's like, she's used to stuff flying in her face.
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah, she's an actress of a certain age. She's used to things flying in her face. It's all good. Zingo. But him having to scream over Pennywise's taunts was pretty special. But I only noticed it last night that as he leaves, Pennywise's voice modulates into something different. Like as he goes out, it gets like raspier, and there's like some kind of vocoder or something on it, so that it's a weird effect. It's not solely Tim Curry. It sounds a bit more menacing. I had to go back and listen to it, that it wasn't like a fault in the DVD, because I managed to rip out my DVD copy of this and go, oh, let's watch it for old time's sake. And it was some kind of voice effect. I went, oh, that's an extra little something.
They do kind of like incorporate his voice into the other characters' voices, like when people slowly start realizing, you know, your hair is winter fire. Yeah.
There's some really good parts like that. So then is it Ben? This is where I get confused.
Then it's Ben.
Then it's Ben. Ben comes back, and Ben goes down to the Barrens and encounters another fat kid.
Yeah, that's what I realized. Ben's still a pussy after all these years. He just lets these kids get away.
Yeah, no, he should have just swung a fist, but you're an adult. Even in the 90s, I don't think you would have got away with kicking a kid's ass.
Could have just said, "Hey."
Yeah. Lucky you had that rag thing. That's just a random line. Lucky you had that rag thing, huh? Lucky you dipped that rag in like still standing water and then put it on my open wound. I'm so happy. Like, thanks for that. I'm gonna get like fucking diphtheria or something from this man, this strange man down by the lake. Ben's daddy makes another appearance, though he's looking a bit rough. He's looking a bit worse for wear.
Old Skeledad.
All skelly dad. Floating though. Floating above the water. All right.
Well, you'll float.
They
You
all-
gotta remember
down
this is
here.
the 90s. I give this movie for a TV movie from the 90s. The effects aren't horrible.
I've
I've
always,
seen what
always
seen
said
worse
I
in-
enjoy practical effects more than
Yeah.
CGI. And I will stand firm on that. There's just something very satisfying about the way a crew will come up with making something work with just very practical props and makeup, and it's
Gremlins is a good example. And when they said that the third Gremlins, when they were talking about doing that it could be CGI, I'm like, do not do that. We need the real puppets.
Yeah,
and
Gremlins
we
are gonna
need
be. That's like trying to CGI the Muppets. You don't do that.
well, and
No.
It's in the name.
Yeah, it's in the name. Exactly. It's in the name.
I just wish more modern movies would utilize practical effects, because I think when they do it and they do it correctly, it's just so much more effective. With this.
It comes down to the budgets, I guess, because it's so much cheaper to CGI
Well,
stuff.
That's the point. Like, if you got a ton of budget for your CGI and your effects and your makeup, if you utilize the practicality of it, like
It's
They
funny
got-
we've gone full circle though. We've gone full circle where back in the day, in like the 90s, CGI was super expensive. It was like, we'll only use CGI if we need it. It's so much easier and cheaper to do practical effects. And now we're like, oh, well, we
Right.
can just CGI blood on people. We don't need blood.
And it's getting easier and easier with AI.
Yeah.
Now you just tell it, put blood on people.
or
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
or Henry Cavill has a mustache. We're just gonna CGI that out of
Have
there.
you guys seen, speaking, just a little tangent, and this is for people as well. Have you guys seen the AI TikToks of the movies, like the horror movies being set in the 50s?
I have
No.
not, but now
They
I
are so
feel like-
good.
I feel like I
I've
need to
s-
seek that out now.
I've seen Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween so far. They're really cool. It's all,
What, like
it's all
whole
like
movies or
1950s
just like a
stuff.
fake trailer?
No, it's like
or
a
something?
fake trailer, like it was a 1950s
saw
movie.
one
It's
for
like-
Mario. It was like from the 50s. It was a Mario trailer.
It's
Yeah, it's
That was
super
really
cool.
neat.
the horror TikTok that I've been watching lately is just this like couple, and they do these like little short skits, and they're just so creepy. Just and they're not even using much, but just,
Yeah.
it's like their faces mostly, and it's just the way they execute it. It's just so.
It's all right. Someone will
cool.
buy the rights to it soon. I'm sure it'll be a movie. That's how it happens.
Paranormal Activity. It's going to be the next one of those.
Smile.
Well, think think of plots
that.
like The Visit and
I like
Yeah,
The Visit.
Smile.
It's got a lot of hate, but I like The Visit.
I like the
I
visit
liked
too.
it.
think of stuff like that. That's
I
like
even liked
the
old.
stuff they're kind of doing. And
Oh, M. Night Shyamalan. Did you guys? Sorry, did you guys see the trailer? Did you guys see the trailer for his new movie, The Trap?
No. No.
yes, and I'm
Josh Hartnett.
He's back.
I mean,
I'm so on it. I
I
love.
want to
me
see
some-
it. It's an interesting concept.
I'm so on it. I love me some Josh Hartnett, but I just have no trust for M. Night Shyamalan.
At least we got the twist in the trailer. Not going to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. Go watch the Trap trailer. Anyway, I should get back to
is
it.
it the real
before-
twist though? But yeah, let's get back to
We
it.
should get back to
Back
it.
to it.
What were we talking about
Go
before?
watch Long Legs,
Practical effects and da. So anyway, Ben gets back into the cab, and there's conveniently a balloon that turns to camera saying, "Turn back now." Right. I love that he's got his own branded balloons and stuff. He's like, Pennywise is the boom. Pennywise is the bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
merch.
we
And
are
then the
on
famous
to-
meme scene of him standing on the side of the road with the balloons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes from that's what the brilliance of Tim Curry. He goes from happy clown to menacing clown in
And
0.6 of a
that's what
second.
But
makes
if any
him.
of us saw that, who here would not have turned around? I would be like, yeah, you know, I'm fucking out.
Oh,
Bye.
I would have swerved and hit the motherfucker.
But Katie's
And
gonna have a car
let
accident
that be a
because he's
lesson
not really
to
there.
any of you thinking that you're going to pull this on me. I will hit you.
See, I think what they understand and what they didn't have time to do in this adaptation, they do it a little bit with Beverly, and they hint at it with Stan, is that after their initial encounter with it never goes away. It's always in the background of like their day-to-day lives, and I'm thinking like I'm just gonna hedge my bets ahead a little bit. Think about Ben in the next movie and the library and all that kind of thing. It never once you see it, it never goes away. It's part of your life, like it's part of your experience. So they know. I think they know that if they don't come, it's going to come for them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of inevitability.
Yeah, Bill even touches on that. He says it. He's like, I have to do this because I don't even know it's real anymore, and it's going to drive me crazy being that way.
Exactly. So Eddie's next, right? Eddie then Bev, or Bev then Eddie?
Yep, Eddie then Bev.
Eddie
comes in and goes to the old Mr. Keen's drugstore.
Mr. Keen's drugstore. Cam for a son. This always used to scare me a little bit. I don't know why, and it gives me like sense memory of going back into an old school drugstore / pharmacy where it had that smell, like you're like, oh, like antiseptic and weirdness, and you're like, oh, something.
Maybe a little mold in the rafters.
Yeah, this is not a place to be for children. It's kind of that kind of vibe.
Kind of clean.
Yeah, Mr. Keen is now a, I guess, slowly dementing shadow his former self, but that doesn't mean that it can't possess him and put the fear of life into Eddie for a hot minute as he runs out with
him. Did it actually possess him? Because his hand was just transformed. So
yeah, so I don't know. I think that's the interesting
kind of like enter into Eddie's brain. Yeah.
I think it's an interesting conversation that we'll definitely have when we get to the next movies. And it's hinted a little bit here. Oh, well, we might as well jump to, because that's really all that exciting that happens to Eddie.
Well, the guy calls it the old lung sucker.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And Eddie gets off kind of lightly. Beverly gets poor Bev gets like the trauma level of this movie. She is back in town and we find her standing in front of her childhood home. Now she thinks she sees the name Marsh. She's going to go back and meet / confront Dad, I guess, is her plans. But a nice old lady comes to the door. Mrs. Kirsch, who knew her father, and turns out Beverly's dad had died 10 years earlier. So,
yeah. And
that's how she welcomes her.
Out.
Yeah, that's how she. Oh, I hate to be the person to tell you this, a stranger and all. Your father's been dead in his last 10 years. It's like, oh, okay. You can tell that lady was an actress from the time when she fat, talking high trousers. It's like, I love it. I love old Hollywood. I love old Hollywood delivering. It's good. So she welcomes her in, and yeah. Sorry, Katie, go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say, I like how they utilize this in the newer version of this. I think I like how they gave it the new twist to it by still using like the meat of it, but just making her a lot creepier.
Yeah. But this is Beverly, literally, and she's the only one that physically goes back to her childhood. Like for Beverly, I think, especially in the next installment, the horror. Well, Georgie and Bill as well. The horror doesn't take a break. It goes home to them. It stays home with them, especially when we get to Beverly's storyline in the next installment, where it is a lot deeper and darker.
Mm-hmm.
I find that interesting. I find that really interesting that he does that with the female character. It's just like, you're going to just fuck this girl up hardcore, don't you? It's okay. So,
I guess it's
Mrs.
the old
Kirsch.
rules of horror, unfortunately, that women make the better victims for storytelling. And it goes to slashes as well, like you got your final girl. Yeah.
Well, if they're not fully
Unfortunately.
traumatized by the end of the film, did you really have a horror film?
Right. So she has her tea that, as always, turns to blood. We like to
I
turn
didn't, I
things to
didn't
blood.
realize until this time that there was a big time lapse when she went in the bathroom. She was in there
Yeah.
long enough for the sink to fill up, and
Yeah,
I never realized that before.
and that's
The old lady
part
probably
of.
thought she was taking a dump.
But,
Look.
Listen,
but this is the
Everybody
is the
poops,
thing.
Luke. There's
This
no
is
need
part
to
of this is part of what I want to talk about, because she enters that building and time does wacky things. So does the evil that is it control the whole town? Because it seems like it's, and like in the
But
book
did she
it's
actually
more
go
of
in
an
that building
intimate.
because it was boarded up? So did she?
Yeah,
even
how did she go
there?
into? It's like it's an incident in the real book. We know it's an interdimensional thing
Yeah.
that comes from another planet. I think they hinted that really interestingly, because later on Bev talks about an encounter that she had with Henry Bowers at the front of her house, and her neighbor watching it happen and then walking away.
Yeah, they comment on that.
Like the
They
whole
said
town is
it's too
implicit.
evil. It's too
Yeah.
evil. They don't want to know. They look away on
Yeah.
purpose because they just.
I don't know if it controls the whole town. I think it's more them. I think he is controlling the victims, and they're just kind of, and
It's
someone's
definitely
shaking
going to be.
People don't want to be involved. Wasn't that sort of like what happened to the gay guys?
It's
Well,
definitely
yeah.
going to be more. Yeah, it's definitely going to be more explored in
I
the
mean-
new movie and the TV series, obviously.
Yes and no. I just don't think he has power over everyone. I mean, I think the victims are very real. I just
No,
don't.
not everyone. That's why they have this Henry
We're
Bowers
just saying
help.
that there is influence. Like he's not restricted to just terrorizing one person. That evil can influence other people at the same time. Like it's a stronger, more insidious kind of thing where he can be terrorizing Beverly here, but he can be terrorizing Bill here, and he can be doing this all at the one time. I think it's too easy to just say it's all psychological.
Well,
Because for them, they actually experience it. There is actual blood.
Well, no, I mean, like, he's there.
Yeah.
Just like the people around them aren't seeing what they're seeing.
I mean, it's an interesting concept, and as I said, it's going to be explored obviously more in the next movies. But in the TV series, Welcome to Derry, which has, again, news update, has been greenlit for a second season, even though the first season is still in production. So they must be believing in what they've got. They've taken over the whole town where the movies were filmed, so it's the same location, as the recent movies. So Derry well and truly exists at the moment, and 2 seasons of a TV show coming.
I think that's kind of a bold move, because this is it's very niche, I think.
I don't know. I think
killer clowns get people in.
Clowns get people in, but clowns also turn people off.
Have you been to Hot Topic?
I was about to say, having worked in physical media when this movie came out, the length and breadth of people that came through getting not only the movie but anything related to Pennywise was ridiculous. And I'm not talking just teenagers. I'm talking like 50-year-olds, like ordering collectible statues and this and that. And like there is a hunger for this property specifically.
Right, and for as many people as there are that like it, there are just as many people who are like me who will say "fuck that noise" and avoid it.
So you're not going to watch Derry?
But the thing is,
I mean, I have a feeling I have to watch it.
The thing is with Welcome to Derry is it's not going to always be Pennywise either. It's exploring what it was or what it is for, the generations, which is why they don't call Pennywise, because if you give something a name, you give it power.
Mm-hmm.
They call this thing it, so
it could go.
Interesting.
I think it's going to go it could go either way.
I think it's going to be
It could be
brilliant. By the looks,
or
yeah.
it could be absolute dog shit.
All you have to do is look at a show like From.
Bank on brilliant
that,
if they
like,
know that they're
on
going to make
small-
money on it.
You can make small town horror work
From is
in the
just
modern day. Yeah.
mm.
Okay, lucky last. Beverly's covered in blood, and her dad turns into a drag monster ghost thing that chases her. I do love Annette O'Toole's scream though. You're not real. You're not real. I'm like, oh, she's got the scream on her. I'm like, go Superman's mom, you can do it.
That was another one of those real red blood kind of things.
Yeah,
with little
that was
teeth. I thought I was just skimming through, and I thought they were in the Chinese restaurant, and I thought it was like some sweet and sour sauce.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that shit stains too. Like, have you ever spilled, like, that sweet and sour sauce on your shirt or anything? You don't get that out. So I wonder how they went about, like...
You're just not using the right products, because I spill Chinese food all over me all the time, and I still manage to get it out every time. You're just lame. Throwing it out
Okay,
there.
maybe you could message me your laundry regime after the show.
If you've got stain removal pins, please leave them in the comments below. Like, we will diversify this show as much as we need to. It's fine.
Ancient Chinese secret.
So, of course, we are at the famous Chinese dinner, the Chinese banquet where
What a
the
good
Losers
segue.
Club reunion made me hungry last night when I was watching it. I was like, I want some Chinese. Like,
You
what's
know,
some
Not the
Chinese?
80s Chinese, 90s
Before
Chinese.
we get
You
to
know
that
what, it was just full
restaurant,
of sugar and salt.
What?
We do see
Yes,
that
Eddie.
Audra is
Yes, Audra is
The-
coming.
the dude's trying to hit on her, and she says no. I'm for.
Yeah, I love my
blood.
husband.
Yeah, I thought that was commendable.
That
there.
was very. That scene was very melodramatic. It's like, oh. That's like, okay, what show are you guys on? Because it's not this one, but that's okay.
You know,
Audra's coming to America to go after her husband.
Yeah,
For better
I
or
thought that was
worse.
important.
I think
For
it
better
says,
or worse.
I think it says something about me that, in that restaurant, even after the eyeball shows up, I'm still
You would have
hungry.
eaten the cookie.
I still have eaten the damn cookie.
Who doesn't love a fortune cookie? I mean, come on.
Like, no, I'm still
When in
hungry.
Rome, huh?
I'm still hungry. Nope, didn't turn me off. I still want it.
But I don't know. As much as we are used to like these scenes, I kind of love a little montage. Like, I'm like, no, they like each other. They're friends. Oh, I'm a bit of a sucker.
Didn't
like
it
that.
have the
Like,
same montage music as the bike
Yeah,
montage?
it's all right. We can only follow this song.
It's all
It's all right. Have a good time, baby. It's all right. Nothing else,
Yeah,
because
I
that's
love
all we
that.
can afford.
Well, I don't think things are all right, though. If people's bathrooms are filling up with blood and,
But they're nostalgia.
Someone's
It's their
dead.
nostalgia. Maybe that was their song that they all like grooved to together or something. I don't know.
It's
You gotta
lulling
bond
you
for a
into a
second.
false sense of security. They're back together. There's nothing that can stop them, Luke. Nothing.
Dancing with a fish
Okay.
head,
Did y'all notice that Bev, she kissed Richie and Bill on the lips? Nobody
Yeah,
else got the old kiss.
no one else. I loved
Bill
how
got the
awkward.
big kiss, but Richie.
I
got a
loved how
kiss too.
awkward the
And Richie was the hero in the book. So
yeah. I loved how awkward the Eddie and Bev were. They're like, it's like, it's not okay. But yeah, yeah. I'm like, Beverly's got a bit overwhelmed and sexy. She's like, oh, I'm overwhelmed and sexy. And then, yeah, it comes at them full force with little crawling eyeball, good eyeball.
at least they waited till dinner was over. I thought
I know, right?
Pennywise was being polite then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pennywise
if you would've
comes up with the
finished
Kung
your
Pao shrimp or something.
Sow.
It'd have been Beetlejuice.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Maybe we have to do Beetlejuice now as well. Anyway.
Don't give him
Look,
ideas,
it's
Kenny.
content. So I did think let's talk about the chicken was good. The
What,
embryonic
chicken they
chicken.
ate? Oh,
No,
Oh
on
yeah,
the
it looked
table.
great. Yeah,
Or effects. Like
It
again,
looked
we're
really
talking
good, yeah.
1990s. I'm like,
see, I'm blocking a lot of this because I don't like that. You don't fuck with my food. I don't care if you fucking have bathroom's full of blood and whatever. Like, I can get in there and clean that. But to be food, no, it's not okay, mate. That's the line, Pennywise. That's the line.
Not
But I do
today,
love
like this guy's fucking with your
the
food.
the recurring thing for Beverly is blood. Her fortune cookie is blood.
Is that
And that
symbolic?
blood sparks a memory of her.
And
Whenever
then she goes full.
I cleaned it up one time.
Yeah. And I do like I forgot this part. I remember it's a bigger part of the next movie, like the cinematic movie, that they all help her clean it up.
Mhm.
And that's when that was what symbolized for her that, you know, everything was like that
She said,
she
I
was
quote,
okay.
I fell in love with all of you then.
Yeah.
She's weird.
Well, she does come from a bit of a fractured home, our poor Bev. It's all right.
Yeah, look.
But yeah, Bev gets bloody. So they head back to the library. Big mistake. Big mistake. As they start to remember things, like it's all coming back to them now, to quote Celine Dion.
It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now.
Well, we encounter. Oh well, we do encounter Pennywise, but in the form of the disembodied head of Stan Uris in the fridge. In the fridge.
It looks good.
Was this?
It
Was
did.
this was after Friday the 13th? Was this in the book?
I
can't
don't
remember.
know. Stan.
Mine be. I think
so
it's.
long since
I think
read
it's a
the
little
book.
bit like, you know, head in the fridge. That was a good moment. Friday the 2. Let's do that.
Oh,
It's
let's-
probably just
let's
easy
see
to
if I
do.
can
on
find
film.
anything on that. Oh, let's
I
see.
don't think it is. Stan gets a very different experience in the book than the TV show. I think it was Stan's was harder to like
Adapt.
articulate and adapt. And we do get the recount of Stan being the last one to see it that summer. Even after the experience, after his initial experience with Billy saving him in the park, and it looks like the leper from. I think that's what it's supposed to be. The leper in the movie
I thought,
update.
I thought it was the mummy.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be a bit of both.
When he was
Yeah,
in the house, it looked like the mummy with the little pom
Yeah,
pom
with-
on her shirt.
yeah. So it's kind of like for Stan, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. For Stan, it's a mixture of things. Whereas, you know, when Richie saw it, it was the werewolf.
You know,
Because Stan's that little bit older. Stan's supposed
he
to be
never
like,
believed.
you know,
He always thought
he
that
never
was
believed.
like
He never
when
fully believed and that's why it's a mixture of things when he sees it.
Yeah,
and he starts calling out bird names, and we
Yeah.
find out Pennywise is kind of scared of birds.
I don't
To
see
try,
anything
yeah,
about it.
to try and ground it in reality, and that I thought that was really. It's not something you would probably catch until like you sit and watch it a couple of times. That, you know, Stan's almost free, almost free of having that experience, but he's still a child. He still hangs around with children. He's affected by it, and even after they attack, you know, the attack in the sewer, he still is
Eddie-
majorly affected by it when he tells Eddie about the deadlights.
Yeah, he wanted to be there. He was the only one who
Yeah.
actually saw beyond the clown.
That still gives me goosebumps, actually. When
Yeah.
I saw its deadlights and I wanted to be there. That's
Yeah, I wrote that down. It's
creepy, my friends. So they, of course, the library reacts in a big way. Flying book. It's like Ghostbusters up in that library all of a sudden. Flying books everywhere, shattering glass.
Yeah, that was a dick move. That was like something
Yeah.
that like really affected things. It wasn't just, you know, fake
Yeah, it's
blood.
like.
He really trashed the library.
But I think
No
think
consideration for books.
Pennywise Pennywise or the evil that is it is starting to understand that, like, they're not leaving. They're not leaving, so he has
that's
to up
what
the
kind of
game.
confused me because they were like, at the Chinese dinner, it seemed like they were ready to go, and then all this fortune cookie shit happened, and all of a sudden they were like, "Well, I don't know what's really going on. Maybe we should take a second look at this." And then Richie got real drunk.
Yeah, see, that would happen to me too. I get real drunk and just decide to stay.
Yeah,
They
Making
go,
bad
they go back
decisions
to
all
this,
That ain't that bad after all.
they go
I'm just gonna
back
drink my
to
problems away.
they go back to this abandoned hotel. Like, there's no one else staying at that hotel.
Yeah, just hanging out in the lobby and stuff.
Just hang out in the
talking about
lobby,
all
The
the
shining.
shit.
getting
The shit
drunk,
Middle of the morning.
getting drunk.
I couldn't
Had a
figure that
hotel.
out either.
But between this and that, we do have a segue to the lunatic asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always nice.
Yes, where
Hot
Henry
pie there.
Bowers has been. Henry Bowers has been since the sewer incident. Now, we kind of haven't talked about this, but the reason why all of that resolved itself in the 60s is that Henry Bowers admitted to all of the murders that were going on in town. So it had a fall guy. It was very human. The evil that was it in that timeline chose Henry as its patsy. So it was able to be buried. They took Henry up to the asylum and buried him in there, and he just becomes the town's dirty secret until the moon starts to talk to you. Wake up, Henry.
Yeah.
Up here.
Yeah, helps
So,
me all the time.
Yeah.
And then Belch. I don't remember. I don't know if there's a different edit of these movies, but I swear to God, when I first watched it, I don't remember Belch coming out from under the bed.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
I remember that in the second more recent one.
Yeah,
I don't remember it for this one. No.
I do.
And then
Sometimes with TV movies, they do shoot extra stuff. They
Yeah.
do it with a lot of slasher films as well, and then they'll
Like
be like, "Okay, we have to trim it down, trim the death scenes down, so we'll add this scene in that we shot, and there's more character stuff or something like that."
like a whole plot that shapes the rest of your franchise. But whatever. We'll just make out that he's her brother. It's not going to affect anything. It'll be fine.
But it's just funny that now that you say that, I'm really trying to remember it from.
And I also don't remember the guard getting attacked.
Pennywise turning into just a Rottweiler.
Yeah,
I remember that because I always thought that was so weird. Like the line of him saying, they bested you all summer, and he's like, "Don't talk about that." That line always stood out to me, so I do remember him coming out from bed. And the fact that there was he turned into a dog. Like they didn't even try.
It's like, what can we turn him into to scare an adult?
Yeah, I'm glad they skipped that with the new one. It was just
Yeah,
a
it was
balloon,
random.
wasn't it?
Just a little.
Just the,
No, he just
like
he
the,
just-
The dog
died.
attacked him, and he just fell, and then that was
Yeah, slow
no.
motion.
oh no, I just
Yeah.
meant in the new one. In the new
In the
one.
new one, I think he just kills him. I think he
I
just
haven't
kills him.
seen
out
Yeah, the
and
guy
out in
comes
new
from
one.
under the bed, and a balloon brings the knife up or something like
Yeah.
that. It's.
Yeah.
I'm not
Holy-
spoiling shit for no one. Just relax.
That's all right. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, and
Bowers
Belch
is
tells
on the
him-
loose.
Belch tells him he's got to kill him. He's got to take him out one by one.
One by one.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, Henry Bowers is on the loose while these guys are still reminiscing, and Pennywise / Bev / Ben are having their kind of weird three-way. who wrote the poem moment? It's, I love it. Kiss me,
Yeah.
fat boy. He's like, only Tim Curry. So Mike gets attacked. Long story short, Mike gets attacked, gets stabbed. Watching it, I didn't really he stabs him in the ribcage near the lung. I'm like, okay. I never saw maybe because I'm watching with adult eyes, I always just go, oh, he's attacking him. And then Henry Bowers gets the knife turned on him and dies.
Yeah,
The last thing he does is call out for Belch. I didn't realize that either.
yeah,
He says,
that's
Belch. I'm like, oh, stop it. So they have to rush poor Mike to the hospital so he can get sidelined for the rest of the movie because it's too hard to follow this many characters. And
I wonder if
again-
that's really why they took him out.
I feel like it is. I feel like we've got to get rid of some of these.
We got too many of these guys.
that's
Too
when
much
he
heavy
reveals
lifting.
he tries to kill himself 10 years ago and found the earrings.
Yeah, that's jacked up, isn't it? I can't imagine going through something that traumatic as a child and then going, you know what? I'm going back down there by my fucking self. No way. Like, I spend my weekends in haunted houses and stuff like that. I ain't going down that sewer by myself.
Mm-mm.
You think it was a woman or something? Because he said he was at a bad time in his life and he just wanted to die.
I resent
Yeah.
that. You
He's like, I resemble that remark.
There's not too many things that's going to make a man feel that sad, though. Especially after
Well, it is-
experiencing an evil clown.
But he does point out that none of them have successful
Fine.
relationships.
I love you again.
No kidding.
Good
He
save,
does
Kenny.
point that out.
Professional.
And there's more. That's how Kenny. That's how Kenny ended up with 3 children. And there's more made of it in the other movies, but he's really the gatekeeper of everything. That's Mike's job. Is that
That is
he's
probably
the
more or
historian,
less why
he's
he
the
got taken.
gatekeeper. Yeah, like he knows a lot, and when you think about it, if Pennywise has taken him out, then he's got these weaker ones that are still questioning whether all this is real. But it makes them double down and they go back down to the sewer, but not before Audra finally rolls into town.
Yeah. After
Finally.
seeing the deadlights.
Yeah,
When
she goes,
stops to talk to the gas station dude.
Yeah. Now 500 meters past the bridge. Well, there's to play with our children. Don't you want your balloon, Miss Denbrough?
Yeah.
Don't you want it? Don't you want it?
You're a little too good.
Don't you want it? It's like, oh! It's like, wow.
And then you see his
Don't you want
eyes.
it? Don't you want it?
Oh.
No means no. Do we have to have this talk?
She got it whether she wanted it or not.
Steve got all his kids.
Yeah. It's over for him. So they go down, back down into the sewer. It's like, I love that set though. I don't care what you say. That set is amazing.
Oh yeah, they've reused it for the Planet of the Apes movie, didn't they? Because it looks.
It's amazing. I love that sewer set. It just makes me happy. And yeah, they kind of. This is where the movie kind of goes. Shit, we're running out of time. Whack everything and fast forward. It's like
Gotta wrap this up real quick.
we're running out of time. We're running out of budget. It's a spider now.
It's a spider.
It's a spider. It's like,
Don't worry, it's got lights.
it's got lights.
Lights
It's
and
got light.
It's got 8 of them. It's a spider, remember?
It's a spider light.
See now, look,
tried, all right.
I'm only just starting the book, so I'm not up to anywhere near in the book.
It's
The
never
book
a
is long.
spider.
It was never a spider. Okay,
I
thank
don't think so. I can't remember it being a spider. There's a lot of things, but it was never a giant spider. And this is the thing that I think the new movies do well when we get into its sanctum and we see what it creates, and that's when the CGI really works when you see those bodies and stuff like that. Oh my god, that's horrifying, and just like bits and pieces from the past and everything that it's constructed. But we'll talk more about that when we get to it. This is kind of like we've got a set with some rocks. We'll hang this lady with some spider webs from what's it from Spirit Halloween. We'll just wrap her around. Wrap it around. It's very that. Even the monsters like one of those ones you put the pad. It's like help me! I'm a spider.
Just when you put it that way, I just picture him having like that voice from Family Guy. I'm a spider.
Spider, stop it! Rawr. I'm gonna stick my leg out.
Who put these roller skates on me?
Gonna eat you. Gonna turn on the dead lights.
You
you
can't
guys are
hide.
having way too much fun with this.
like Alien. Hey, little mouth. I'm gonna have my little mouth now. They should have done it. They should have
You want
done.
to be a writer for Family Guy,
They
don't
should have
you?
done Family Guy like they did with Blue Harvest. Imagine that.
And clearly aliens as well.
Seth MacFarlane,
Hey,
call us.
man.
We've got the whole script written for it.
Whatever. I think it's still hilarious. Go watch it.
Come at night.
Go watch
I don't
it.
want you. You're a girl.
Go watch it. Go watch an episode of Family Guy. Do yourself a favor. It'll still give you a chuckle. It'll still give you. Although American Dad is the more offensive show now. Some of the stuff on American Dad, I'm like, oh fucking hell, that's bridging the gap there.
Roger brings the party there. But we're getting off topic again.
We are because really... the spider is so bad. Well, I would. All right, here's my thing. Would you have preferred just staying Tim Curry at this point?
I think it probably would have been a little more scary if he had. I mean,
it would have been a weird fight, though.
It would have been a weird fight, but thinking about this fight and then thinking about the fight in the new movie when they're just getting down there and he's just doing the weird dance, like, fuck, what's going on here?
In that new movie, they fuck him up like that. That's a physical fight. I would have liked to have seen some physicality in this, as opposed to Jason the Argonaut spider, and then I'm being crushed. Help me! Land of the Lost moment. Beverly does what Beverly does and shoots it and shatters the dead lights, but not before. Poor Eddie Kazbrak, again, saving people at the expense of his own life. Poor Eddie.
We didn't deserve that.
So as the spider dies, this was cool though. They weren't content with it being dead. They ripped that fucking thing apart this time. That was cool. I wish we would have seen them get a bit more like gooey and bloody and stuff like that.
Start eating its heart and stuff like
that.
No,
but just to because So the idea
line,
is
remember
that
the line? Don't fuck with food, man.
The whole idea with it is that this evil in the book. It's not really a spoiler because it's like a 40-year-old book novel at this point.
Nah,
that evil has been there since the time of Cro-Magnon Man. Like they were afraid of it and what it was. So for them to become primal and ripping this thing apart is kind of humanity taking back its ownership of fear and stuff like that. I would have liked a bit more of that to show that they really won. But they emerge from the sewers no longer the Lucky Seven at all.
What are they now?
5.
Club 5?
5 of them, right?
Club
5.
The pathetic 5.
That 5.
And we kind of
they're all
limp off into
now.
Yeah. Straight and white, yeah. Poor. Do you think they wanted to make Eddie gay and they just couldn't say it in the 90s? Like,
probably.
It's pretty implied, right?
They call him Girly Boy. Pennywise calls him Girly Boy.
Oh, and yeah, he was gay.
I don't know if there's only 4 now because Mike, Stan, and Eddie are all gone.
Oh, Mike's alive though.
Mike's alive.
He's not there. He didn't come out the sewer. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike will say Mike.
Core 4. All right.
Give it a core 4. Look what happened to them. Hello. And we get the posts. It's everyone's solo career at the moment. We get like the revelation that Bev and Ben left together, which is cute. They can read poetry to each other and
excuse me.
Did her husband die, or will we see him again?
We'll see him. You don't see him in this movie. Yeah. In the book, he's a bigger part.
Yeah.
And he gets his just desserts in that book. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so he's a bit of a dick.
You're abusing a piece of shit, but he's
Stephen King for some reason loves abusive husbands.
Maybe he grew up.
Should just leave him at the end of this film,
and
she just moves on with
my dad.
Yeah.
I mean, think about
she
it.
moves on with
Ben. It makes
Ben.
sense for her character that she would go with someone who's
right. Yeah. It makes sense for her character, but I just find it funny that Stephen King just loves douchebag husbands.
Oh no, he has douchebag moms in Sleepwalkers.
I do feel sad.
I'm just thinking like Dolores Claiborne,
I do feel sad for Richie though, because he genuinely seems very, very affected by Eddie's death. Like,
because he loved him.
Yeah, that's sad. See, that's sad. I feel like that's sad. Mm-hmm. And then we get Audra and Billy, but who cares?
Yeah,
I really don't care.
He's been making out with Bev the whole time. That relationship's not gonna last.
She just comes out of a coma riding a bike down a fucking steep. I would freak Imagine coming out of it. First of all, get that woman into a hospital. Why is she on a bike? Like, no safety helmet. I mean, we're sure it is brain damage as you can get, I guess. Yeah, it's on it. What's a
Knock it
bike
back
accident
right.
gonna help? It's like, fuck you, bitch, you're done. But we get the reveal that Mike has actually also left Derry and is starting to forget. So
Man, wouldn't
He's
you want
gonna be
to?
successful now.
I think he deserves.
He's gonna become a
Mike
rich
deserves it.
librarian.
I wish
Yeah.
I could forget.
Exactly. But that's the close. That's the end of this chapter of it, the 1990s installment. Luke, we're gonna start with you because you're so stripy.
Okay.
And what?
Yeah,
How
and I was
many?
going to say I can invent the. No, I want to invent this ranking.
You want to invent it?
It should
Okay.
be bursting balloons full of blood.
Bursting
Out of
balloon
5
full blood. I
bursting
like
balloons
that
full
one.
of blood. Ugh, look, I give this a 3, and it's a very generous 3. I felt that this one had some pacing issues, stagnates a little bit. I don't know. I got a little bit like, I didn't care as much about them in the adult period as I did when they were kids. I don't know what that's down to. I don't know. I give it a 3 bursting balloons full of blood just because I feel that some things could have been done better. And the spider is just not vibing with me. I didn't vibe with the spider.
Okay, so what about overall though? So for this half of the miniseries, yes, 3. But overall, as an experience, what do you think?
Overall, look, I would probably give it overall 4 bursting balloons out of 5. I think that it's a good story. It's a fun story. Look, it's Tim Curry is amazing in it. Some great performances from the other cast. So yeah, I think it's a solid 4 overall. I think this part could have done with some more excitement in there.
And I think that
zhuzhing.
I think that they corrected that when they got to a part 2 this time. They saw how, especially in this last movie, people really reacted to the child cast in the new because they were phenomenal. And everyone's like, how are you gonna match these kids?
Just wait till they grow up and then do part 2.
And then they managed to not only match them but have those kids still in part 2 as well, which was really cool. All right, we're going to Katie because you are the queen of trauma in this one. So how are you feeling about this half first?
Fine. I'll play along, even though I just
bursting balloons.
I'll you know what? I think 3 bursting balloons. I think you had it pretty spot on there. I think this one was a lot weaker. It was the weaker part to the series, quite honestly. But I don't think necessarily that I didn't care as much about the adults than I did about the children. I just think I think the storyline was just like very rushed. You were spot on with the pacing. Like they just they could have focused a lot more about like what's going on with the story and that focused more on the sewer and the spider. Fuck the spider. Like what is that? I mean, man, it's fun. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to make fun of, but it just you drop the ball. Like you have Tim Curry.
Jump the shark.
I mean, you've got Tim fucking Curry, who is this horrifying villain, and then you make him into a spider? Really?
Yeah.
Really? I feel like you're doing a very big disservice not only to your actor but to your viewers with that. It was just sloppy. So.
And what about as a whole experience? Fuck
that. That is my experience on this. Is fuck that. But it says something that this movie is from what 1990 and it's 2024, and I'm still here as a 37-year-old woman saying fuck this movie. And I've said that solidly since I've seen it the first time, and I will probably say that for the rest of my life. Like this movie is still scary. I mean, some parts you can kind of pick out like, I guess that's not as scary, but Tim Curry is solidly still terrifying. Solidly still very, very scary. Bravo to
Definitely.
her.
Mr. Legs, our newest guest and
Pennywise
wonderful
himself.
contributor. How do you feel about this half of the movie, first of all?
I want to give it 1,000 bursting balloons full of blood, but
You're being way too nice.
but
You're gonna
you
get kicked
guys
off the
bring up
panel if
some
you're gonna
good
be
points.
too
You
nice.
guys make some good points, and there is some dragging on parts in this one. The climax is not that climactical,
Yeah, I say that a lot too.
but given all that, I still give it 4 bursting red balloons of blood that I try to ignore whenever they pop in my face. Because, like, compare it to any other cheesy 90s scary movie, it holds its own. They did what they could with what they had. They took the direction they were given, and they went with it.
And overall, for the experience, Eddie, how would you rate 1950s?
Five bursting
Five?
balloons. 5 bursting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen King. Pennywise. The whole clown being scared of it. That has been such an impactful thing in my life the whole time. I would not trade the experience for anything.
You know, I will give that does say something for being so scared of clowns and this movie, and that's still a very big Stephen King fangirl. That's the funniest thing is like I will stand Stephen King until I die.
I get it.
I just love this man. I think he's incredible. I think his writing just with age, I think he just gets better. I think he takes
find more. Like when you go back to the material, you can read. Those are the kind of books that you can read again and again and again, and find something new and find a different avenue to explore it. Look, I'm going to kind of agree with everyone else. I think that this second half definitely does have pacing issues. I think watching it back, the lack of Tim Curry is surprising for the whole thing. I remember him being an overarching presence back in the day because, you know, everyone was Pennywise. But when you put it together, there's not a lot of him. You know, they use him sparingly, but they use him well.
I've always usually just watched it as one big movie, so it wasn't until us splitting it up like this that I did realize that they might have recorded all that whenever they made the first one.
Yeah,
like him with Richie, that's like the most he gets, the most dialogue he has.
Yeah,
little jokey jokes.
I think they got it right moving forward with the amount of interaction between clown version of Pennywise and the kids. Like, we'll talk more about the Skarsgård of it all a little bit later.
Skarsgård.
But I think that, Tim Curry was great, but more of pacing problems, giant spider, Audra in general. It has to be 3. But for overall, I think I am going to go 4.5. This is such a big pinpoint moment in my relationship with horror movies and horror in general. I am old enough to remember when this was on television. I have memories of going and going no, I don't want, and running away, and the schoolyard gossip about it all and all that kind. I think I lived through that phase, and I think that is always going to hold a certain place because once you're old enough and brave enough, you go to the video store and you look for this, and
why you gotta keep doing that shit
scared.
to me? Come on,
still scared.
You go to the video store and you do that because you put yourself through that experience because, like I said, I think in the last review, there is something about when horror focuses itself on children and them experiencing evil that makes it really interesting, especially when you watch it as a child. You go, that could be me. That could be me because the parents like Buffy and all that kind of stuff. Where are the parents in these movies? They don't see it. That's the point. They don't see the evil thing, and it's a very interesting comment on childhood and childhood trauma parents don't see the horrible things happening to their children right in front of them. That's something that's really quite chilling when you think about it, especially with Bev and all that kind of thing. The adult world doesn't see what these children have to go through, and when they grow up, they have to incorporate that trauma into them to survive, to move forward. Because if you don't, what stand happens. That's what happens to you if you can't, own the experience, learn from it, and overcome it. That's what happens. It's pretty deep. I know that's pretty deep, but this is what this kind of thing. I think it's important that kids do see horror when it's appropriate for them. Like as I said, the first Halloween movie I saw was Halloween 4, and to have Michael Myers after a child that the parents couldn't protect, that's big. To have the strength of these kids together being able to defeat this evil is really important for kids as well. I think it shows the strength of childhood. It shows the strength of imagination and all that kind of stuff. And I thank Stephen King for that. I think, as I said, source material is so big and lofty. I'm glad they're doing TV series and all that kind of stuff. But this will always hold a special place in my heart. It's going to have a 4.5.
I got to wonder if this was one of the books that Stephen King wrote coked out. You got to wonder.
It's very, I don't know if it is, because when you get towards the end and he's explaining, the turtle and all that kind of stuff.
No, that kind of makes you think, yeah, he probably was.
But it's so specific. Like it's a very specific, intentional story that he's creating.
I don't know. Some of those details makes you think you're hyper focused,
and yeah.
Very cooked out.
Only Stephen will know. But we have survived our first trip down the sewers. I would like to thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Kenny, for becoming a part of our little crew here. Hopefully you'll want to come back and discuss our next foray into the sewers. Anytime he's in. So
anytime.
We will be back, and we will be ready to discuss a modern day interpretation of Stephen King's It as we jump forward in time and the millennials get their chance to have their childhood ruined by,
you mean Gen Z?
Well,
we are the millennials.
I know, but I think it was interesting. The 60s was our parents' time, and they would have been grown up in the 90s. The new movie sets it squarely in the 90s.
I get where you're going with it. Okay.
We're the trauma generation now.
Gotcha.
We're going to manifest our trauma and, try and control our trauma.
Okay, I got, you were going with the movie plot. I thought you were going with...
I was going with the movie plot, girl.
I gotcha. Now I'm following.
We'll be back. We will return to Derry. So until then, my friends, my magical Losers Club, stay out of the sewers. Bye. Pussy.